Let's show how to customize the appearance of a map to get the look that you want to have it show. We could do a US map, but let's go and do a ring. We'll go to find an address, 3333 Bristol Street, Costa Mesa, California. And we'll say find, and we will add this to new areas. We'll just start right out, and we'll call this South Coast Shopping. And it's possible to dictate the color you want right here. You can go in here and say, from the area style selector, choose a nice green color instead of red, and have a fill pattern by going to color fill and saying, okay, I want it to be green, and say okay, and it'll be filled in green. And you can change the way the site label shows up just by going here and saying I want a rounded corners, and you can say the site marker, I'd like to be a circle or a square. Let's make it a square that has got a red center and maybe a little more red, and so that will be the square. And then sub area labels will be the ring sizes, but we'll do that later. We'll just say that's what it's going to look like, and this is going to be an area called South Coast Shopping, and there it is. There's the Bristol Street. Now we notice that this is not quite what we were looking for, and in order to improve it, we can get those same dialogues back by going to the map menu. I just made a little boo-boo there. Going to the map menu and choose map layers, and here we have the exact same buttons that we had before: the site label, the site marker, the sub area labels. Let's change the sub area labels first. Let's make them bigger and stronger and better. And if we put in this push pin here, we can try it out and see how that looks. I think that looks okay, but I'm going to draw a frame around it, and the frame is going to be pink. And if I say apply, that'll give me a pink frame, and I'm going to make this more of this kind of a label. Okay, so that's okay. The background, I think I can turn off the background. Maybe I'll make the background a different color too. I'll make the background a kind of yellowish color. Okay, so there's the, and then we can close that. So that's the sub area labels, and the site marker we've got. Now I noticed that the site label is a little small. The fill didn't come in at all, and I think that we can go in here and we can see why that is. The transparency is set to 100%. So if we just make the transparency a little more transparent, we can see that it will fill it in like that. Well, and another possibility is to give it a ramp. So I can go here and make it ramp and make it a little more transparent, maybe 75% transparent. And there we have something that looks a little more, I'll accentuate that a little more. There we go. So now let's put the zip codes in. And in order to do that, we have to go over to the All Layers tab and go down to the postal geography, and we'll say we are going to have the 5-digit zip polygons. That's what most people think of as zip codes. And go back to the layers and map, and we can see here again they should be a little less transparent. And if I click OK, that's good. We can see the zip codes. And now here's a little plus here. Just like with the ring area, it gives us an opportunity to put in the object labels, which are the zip codes. And there they are. Well, they're kind of small. Let's make them bigger. and more legible. So here are the zip codes. I'm going to leave them in Tahoma font and come up here and apply. That looks pretty good. Now, I do notice something funny though, and that is that maybe there are not quite enough zip codes. And for example, Fountain Valley here looks like a zip code, but it doesn't say what the zip code is. And if we go over and here, there's a checkbox that says Show Reference Cartography. And the reference cartography is the cartography that for the most part does not contain data. And if we click that open, locales, 05 locales, is one of those reference cartography things. So if we take that out, you can see that the name of the locale disappears and the zip code comes back in. So I think we would like to keep that. And we'd like to get rid of the streets too. So let's uncheck streets. That's okay, but what about the freeways? Let's go back to all layers and go down and choose roads, which is somewhere in here. Down here is roads. And you can see you can put in the interstates, or you can put in the major roads, which also contains interstates. So that gives a pretty good orientation of what we would like our map to look like, and we can zoom in on the area showing 1, 3, and 5 miles for this South Coast Plaza. And that looks like a pretty good map. Now, if there's one thing that we might still like to have, that would be those locale names. But another possibility is to go to the map layers and go for each zip code. There's something called content labeling. So these are all buttons along here. So if we press this button, we can bring this up and go to content labeling. And notice that one of the options here is to just have the zip name. Click this to hold it. So that shows just the zip name. But since it is zip codes we're looking at, let's try to get both zip code and name. So now we've got the zip codes and the names for the municipalities that the zip code goes into. And that's a pretty good map, and I think that we're going to be happy with that. So I'm going to go to the map menu and say Map, Export Image or Print, and if I go to Print, it will bring up this screen layout. You can choose different layouts and put a caption in here and print the map or save it in an Excel file. And if I go to Export Image, I can go to Export Image and say screen resolution, number of DPI, put it to a clipboard or put it in a file, and that will just put out an unadorned image file that you can read into your publishing software or send it to your friend or coworker, however you use your workflow. So that's how you can customize a map and get it to look like you want it to look in ScanUS using the Map Layers dialog.